So, hey everybody, I'm Grels and I'm bringing you this short patch overview for the recent Heroes of the Storm patch, that is the balance patch version 2.46.1 from July the 10th, 2019. And yeah, I just recently started creating Heroes of the Storm content, got into streaming a few months ago, yes. And yes, when yesterday I was going through the patch notes with some friends, the idea came up like doing a video like this. And I thought, why not? Because I really like this game and I don't want it to die. And so I'm creating content and yeah, I'm doing my part. So that's that. I'm by far no pro or whatever, but I'm active in the competitive scene since it started. It's in the amateur competitive scene, yo. And I played all the heroes to level 15. I did that heroes census survey, so I think it's okay for this small first look stuff for the patch. And yeah, just let's go, I think. Any feedback you have is appreciated, of course. Just give it to me. I'm just starting here. So you will see the patch notes on the left, and you will see some in-game changes on the bottom if you want to compare something, but just on the bigger hero changes, whatever. And yeah, let's just check the patch notes together. So yes, the real big thing on this patch is this general movement speed increase for 10%. It's just hovering over all, because that's really a big change, and some people would have thought that could be actually a patch that should have been on PTR first. This topic is really big, so the 10% movement speed changes a lot. It's like a small nerf for skill shot heroes and the buff for melee heroes. It's hard, you can easier juke some AoE effects, or melee heroes can faster get to in fights to the range poking heroes. And stutter stepping is more important now, because you can do more distance during the stutter stepping. There's a lot of small things, and it's a huge topic, and I think it's too much for this small video to go very deep onto that. Just we should keep that in mind. Like, you remember when you played against Lily before, because Lily had her trait. There are sometimes situations where you thought, oh my god, any other hero I would have hit with that. But Lily just got barely away with that little bit more speed. And yeah, that's what this patch could change. It could change a lot, and it will take some time to figure that out, and maybe some more balanced patches. But leave it like this. We go on with more like that. Okay, what else? So that is an interesting thing. It's a huge thing, actually, and it's an easy patch to do, thing to do to keep the game fresh somehow and against a stale meta. Meta was kind of pokey recently, but yeah. Mecha to repeat missions just 50 times, so no sick farming anymore. So we have a lot of hero changes. A lot of them are just small, underused talent buffs or small nerfs, like Anub here. We have small nerfs. Oh, here's W is 1 second more cooldown, and the epicenter does give you less cooldown reduction. So small nerfs for Anubarak. The W could be a big though, because he needs the uptime. So nerfs for Anubarak. He's big contested tank. That's okay. Then we have also ETC nerf. The guitar solo, that's baseline E, is 1 second longer. That nerfs his sustain, but his level 1 talent on E is increased on his sustain, though it's like you have to... Highest rune rate in the game, Warrior, they are saying that. So, okay. ETC, the big thing for ETC is that he can be played as an offlaner and main tank. So if you draft him in a competitive environment, you don't give away what you're drafting very early, and he's strong. MalGanis, cooldown reduced from 9 to 8 seconds on his Q, and mana cost reduced. So small buffs here for MalGanis, just twerking a few talents here, nothing significant. I think the same is for Artanis. Underused talent picks are buffed. More armor from his E on 4. Shield battery, cooldown reduction gives you more trade on 4, and on 13. Yes, also cooldown reduction on E, or cooldown reduction on the Q for your shields, I think. So it's also buffs for Artanis. Nothing too serious. It's not what you draft Artanis for. Maybe Artanis gets a little bit more valuable now. You have to check that. So now here there are some more bigger changes for Chen. A lot of Chen changes. So his Keg Smash, a lot of people were complaining that it's a little bit too slow. Like now you have both skills on the same button, I think on the W, yes. And after a few seconds, a short moment, it switches. After you cast the Keg, it switches to Breath, and that timer was reduced now, so it switches a little bit faster. I have to test it myself first if it feels as clunky as before or better now. And it's just adjustment fitting to that slow. So because now it changes after 1.25, also the slow change has to come a little bit earlier and stay longer then. So let's check the freshest ingredients trait. Upon class completion, other is the cooldown fortifying brew. That's good. Let's check that in game. What is that quest? Freshest ingredients here. So healing. Yeah. Okay. I think this quest was strong before. I haven't played the new Chen that much, but on my first impression, it was like a very strong quest, and more regeneration from the globe is cool. Also, there are a lot of talents from him that needs the shield to be up, and if you have this completed, like 50% of the shield is persistent. That it was a good talent so far. Now it got even stronger, so I think it's nice. But I don't know how the win rates for Chen are and what you picked now, because I haven't played him that much. So I don't know. Let's go on here. What does he do? What else he does do? So more healing from the passive. Okay. Stormstart receipt, secret receipt, Withering Flames. Spell power reduction increased from 30 to 40. Which talent is that? It's a W. Igniting and hero spell power 40%. That's a strong thing. Against mages, or if you're in the backline of an enemy team and you debuff the mages, it's really strong. Really strong for Bruiser, I think. 40%. Wandering Keg gives you armor now and less cooldown. So yeah, I think the Storm, Wind, and Fire is just so strong. Storm, Earth, and Fire, right? And that's just so annoying and strong currently. So yeah, they have to do something with the other heroic, and that's what they do. Slow is increased as well, and armor is increased. So Chen gets buffed overall. I think he was... I only encountered him in quick matches or something like that, and he was always annoying in these situations when you don't have a good comp to fight him. I have to admit I haven't tested him in competitive environment right now, but so those are all buffs, and why not Chen? Maybe we'll see him more often now. And there is Imperius, and he got some big changes as well. He is pushed more into being a better solo laner even more. Before that, he was a strong team fighter with big damage and CC follow-up, and had a bit of struggle sometimes with his on a solo lane, because when a lot of wave clear or something was needed, or something sustain, he also needed a lot of mana, and I think they did some good ideas here. So baseline, his E does less. I think he's harder to play now. Definitely. So his E heals the same than before against heroes, but less against minions. So it's not as easy as to being that sustain. But he has baseline a heal on his trait. It does a little bit less damage, but that instead he gets the baseline heal on using his the brands, the marks that are coming. So that gives him a lot of possibility. Also, maybe being, it just gives him a lot of sustained baseline. And before that, this talent was just needed to pick, and now you maybe can pick something different. So that's what we have. We have on level 1 Q Impaling Light is redesigned, so I have to check that. Where are you, Imperius? There you are. So Celestial Charge is no quest anymore. So the Q on 1. So Celestial's final damage is increased by 50% and cooldown is reduced by 1 second for each valorous brand on the target when the stun completes. So I don't know if it stacks if you have more than one target on the spear. So like if you have 3 people and all are standing, all have one brand, is it reduced by 3 seconds? That would be really big. If it's not like that, then okay. But you have more damage on the Q, that's okay. You also have a mana bonus 2.5% still remains the same. The burn, the impure and consuming flame also restores mana. That is one of his bigger problems. Sometimes he drinks a lot of mana, and that is a mana sustain talent. That's a fighting talent, and that's as well some burst damage. Yeah, it's okay. More slow. So he got more variability, I think. Although, let's go on. Level 4, Bulwark of Flame is removed. Unshakable Faith is removed. Redesigned, increased the healing of valorous brand. Battle Hunger. So, yes, that is the former important talent. That is now just because you got some of the Battle Hunger baseline. You can now improve it with that talent. So, even more healing from the thing. Then you get the Sovereign Armor from level 16. And the new press forward. So damaging. So let's check that in game down there. The damaging, and there we are. It's all interesting. So 25 armor is a good thing for survivability. Then you can of course go for more healing. And this is also interesting, the press forward, I think. Because as long as you, when you collected the globe, and as long as you keep fighting, the globe gets refreshed and you can fight on, and all the time it also gives you more mana. And so this can also help you with the mana sustain in lane if the enemy is coming onto you and fighting. So interesting choices. I have to evaluate this, but I think you can be really strong with that. Check level 7. We still have that Holy Fervor that gives so much. It's changed. No. Blaze of Glory. So, now consumes and benefits from Valorous Brand. So, secondary explosion from Blaze of Glory. Now consumes and benefits from So, it's a buff for the W. And now the active that now has a maximum duration of 10 seconds. The cooldown for the ability begins after the first attack instead of the last. Cooldown increased from 2 to... Okay, it's changed now. Before that, you could activate it and use it anytime, and the cooldown was already running from the first attack, so you could have it up all the time, which makes this talent so strong, so very strong. Now it's a little bit twerked, more cooldown. You have to use it instantly, and so a little bit nerf for this talent. So all interesting damage talent, though. Maybe he still needs it for wave clear if you are the offlaner. That's that. So level 10, we have no changes. Level 13 are redesigned. The talents are redesigned, and we have the stunning. That's the same thing than before, right? Pathetic Mortals. Yes, it is. But the others are redesigned. So we have now consuming Valorous Brand reduces the cooldown, so more uptime for the E, and this is increasing the healing for 2% for every 1% Imperius is missing. So the lower Imperius is, the more healing he gets from this talent. Nice. Level 16 is Celestial Swiftness. And he gets Valorous Pursuit from level 20 to level 16, which is awesome, because that, I think, it really suits the fantasy of him. So consuming more armor, so he can debuff the armor still. He can he can get more speed and attack and movement with his Q, and he can also do this, which is awesome. Just teleport to any hero with a brand on it, and gain 25 armor, and that's just so cool. I tried this sometimes, and if you just poke with a W and get a mark on a backline and then just suddenly appear there and impale them, it's just so cool. And this makes him way more flexible here. Also nice engage thing. And on 20, what did he get on 20 mode? Is there anything new? Brand of Solarian. And duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Imperius is his survivability stuff. He gets unstoppable and 75 armor, which is cool. And this is new. Reduce the duration of Valeera's brand to 3 seconds, but it is no longer consumed when triggered. Valeera's brand. Hit for 10 seconds. I see. So that's just a hardcore team fight talent. So if you do have this talent, the brand just lasts 3 seconds instead of 10. But it is not consumed when triggered. So for that 3 seconds, you can always bash for all 3 brands on it and heal and do. So could be interesting. All in all, I really interesting changes for Imperius. I think he got more flexible to play, and I think also harder to play. But he can better adapt to special situations. He has interesting possibilities, and maybe he's also more likely to be able to main tank in some situations. I don't know, that you have to figure out. But could be. I think so, could be. By the way, let's start with some reggae music in the background. Why not? I think it's some free music from the YouTube library. I'm gonna reload. So yeah, that's better, I think. And we have small buffs to the Sonya survivability, so maybe we should see her more often now, test her. Then we have Yrel, big changes to Yrel as well. Yrel, in my opinion, was before fun, but had problems with sustain and mana sustain in the lane, on the offlane. She's typical offlaner, and all the wind-up timing that needed to can be interrupted. She always had that E build, where she could double jump and debuff, give everybody armor and stuff. But with the changes that are coming here, she got interesting possibilities. I think I tried her, and it was a lot of fun. So they're on level 1, the talent that gives yourself, improves your Q. Where is Yrel? I mean Yrel, of course, not Yrel. Yrel, there you are. So the Light of Karawa was still already good, and I think there's a new build, and maybe I might do a video about that. Light of Karawa is strong. So we have now the Hand of Freedom that can cast on yourself. And with this thing, that has a 20 seconds cleanse, also self-cleanse against slows and roots. So soft self-cleanse and on 20 seconds. And soft ally cleanse if necessary, and 35% move speed, and you can cast this on yourself and have so much fun and mobility chasing around. So this is actually a really awesome talent. Yes, it is. So it's just 35 to 50%, yes, but it's cool. So Sonora's Light is removed, and Righteous Momentum is changed. So no longer increases your movement speed while at maximum charge. Additional functionality, Yrel's movement speed is increased by 5% instead of being slowed while charging Reckless Hammer. She instead quadruples the bow. So that's cool. So like you go with a UW, Righteous Momentum. That's like you run. You don't have you're not slow when charging the hammer. You got quicker and faster and faster and faster, quadruple that 20% more movement speed, and you can stack together with this talent, Hand of Freedom. Then you have like 55 movement speed suddenly and bash the people. It's just really fun and interesting build, and different build for Yrel. Alder Peacekeeper damage reduction increased from 30 to 40%. That's the Q. talent, so debuffing the enemy, and more slow on E is possible. And also on 16, you do 6% maximum damage with the full charged hammer. So buff for Yrel, and also interesting new possibilities, especially with the W build now. The W build gets buffed a lot. Also the Hand of Freedom is a very strong talent now. It's a soft cleanse on you or on your allies on 20-second cooldown. Additionally, movement speed, and that's just big. For engages, for disengages, it's really good, and you can jump around, and it's great, and woo! So, you have to check that. That's awesome. It really is. So we go on with Anna. So I expected them to nerf a little bit of the grenade actually, because I think it's too much that the grenade takes 100% healing deny, but it's still like that. They buffed the E build instead, so E has a slow on level 1, additionally a new functionality, so after that might be strong with you with like Greymane. So you put someone to sleep, and then after them a 3-second slow, and also the doses the poison doses applied with sleeping that are increased on 4 if you take that. And yeah, there are actually small nerfs to the grenade. That's not small, to the level 4 grenade talent. No, I think it's level 7. This talent is on level 7, isn't it? Let's check that. Anna. Where are you, Anna? There you are. So talent is 7. Yeah, that's that. Anti-healer. So the area is not as big as before. Not the double area, just 25% more, which is good. That's fine. So it's not so easy to hit it anymore. So buffs for Anna E build and nerf for W build. That Anduin got better tooltip for his passive on 7, so that the talent is like if you get a specific amount of damage, then you get heals for yourself, self-heal. And now that is shown, that's nothing special. Like I think it's, I don't know if it's shown in the, where's Anduin? Come on, Anduin. Yeah, you see this? Current health required 133, and it will change depending on what your max health is. So that's just that. The self-heal you get from binding heal is increased, so Q a little bit buffs, one underused talents for Anduin, and that's that. Rehgar, the talents got tracked a little bit, they are moved, so there's always the same pattern, QVE, DC. And the Q talent on 4 got removed, and it's got baked into another level 13 Q talent, not 4. Rehgar, where are you? So Rehgar here, cosplay healer. So we don't have a Q talent on 4 anymore, but we have the totemic projection now on 4. So we have so you can move the totem not longer on 7 but on 4. Instead you have on 13 good choices now. You have the tidal waves, cooldown reduction, and mana cost reduction. Then you have the Earth Living enchant. So heroes below 50% are healed over time for additional stuff, and then the Earth Shield, we know that. And so it's good choices on 13, all the good choices now. Tidal waves might be interesting if you don't need the burst protection. And 7 is still the cleanse. Yeah, it's just that, and that. It's a little bit tracks for this Rehgar, but mostly the 13 is interesting. The rest stays like the same. You can go the totemic projection here, but usually it's healing totem or stormcaller, maybe. Yeah, well, we know. So go on with the Rehgar. We have Medivh. Medivh also underused talents got buffed. The Q that improves your damage on 7 and also gives you self-heal, and also the underused level 20 talents. 50% spell power bonus with account brilliance. Oh, and dust of a disappearance. 40 seconds invisibility for your team, which is fun. Oh, we have Illidan buffs. So I think on Illidan, where are you? Illidan, come on. There you are. So I think you mostly need friend or foe on Illidan. Rapid chase was never used. Dive grants 20% movement speed for 3 seconds. So it got buffed, which is okay. It was really underused. It's a little bit buff. I don't know if it's okay, but friend or foe, I think it's just too important for Illidan. More blocks, underused talents. Fury Brand, 7 to 8% maximum health, yes. And Blades of Athenat. Oh, that's actually a big buff. So Blades of Athenat is a strong talent, but now it's instantly usable when you turned it. And that's small buff for Illidan, but could be a big thing. That's what they're saying as well. Okay, let's see how this turns out. Illidan might be good. If he is always good if he's a win more hero, you know. Maiev, more damage on her E. Armor by 10 seconds for first second. Okay, underused talents got tracked or buffed. So here we are with Valeera. There's a little bit more. Bigger. More energy regeneration. Initiative gives you movement speed. That's all underused talents. It's a buff for underused talents actually. The W is stacking talent on 7. Less talents needed. You get more damage. Less stacks, more damage. Okay, so it's easier to stack the W talents. I don't know if it's cool. Maybe Valeera is still too squishy, but I don't know. And Thilty got cooldown reduced. That's if you have the skill to use that, that's a good talent. Zeratul. That's now we're coming to some bigger changes again. Zeratul got changed in his current playstyle a lot. So there are usually 2 big playstyles for Zeratul. And the one that was very dominant in competitive play recently was the poke Q build, like with Wormhole. Just poke, jump in, poke, Q, poke, and jump out instantly again. And that was just enough to do and easy to execute actually. And that got removed with a big change in Wormhole here. So you cannot cast Wormhole until 1.25 seconds have passed after blink. So so you have 1 second more though, but you can't do this jump in, Q, jump out. You have to stay a little bit inside, and that's maybe dangerous and could be a bit to that build. Whoa. But we have buffs to the other builds, like Shadow Hunter, what is that's and the Move Unseen trait. That's really strong talent. So you are instantly cloaked after 1 second. You're cloaked instead of before you. Let's check that in game. Come on, where is my Zeratul? There you are. So the Shadow Hunter gives you Move Unseen. So usually his baseline ability is Permanent Cloak, and after he gets cloaked after 3 seconds stealth out of combat, and now with that talent it's after 1 second and more movement speed. So this is really big. So you have a lot of possibilities with escapes. So you're instantly getting the 30% movement speed, and you can move around, and that opens a lot of possibilities. And there are some talents that needs you to have the stealth, like no, that's the Psionic Strength, Darkness Descents. Here on 13 you have that Shroud of Anduin. You get the shield when you're permanent cloaked. That triggers now more quickly, and that could be big. But still, Manning Strikes is still the go-to in most situations. Actually, Zeratul, so the Q build gets nerfed, the wormhole Q build, but I think his Seeker in the Dark build gets buffed. So going with Seeker on 7 and Sentence to Death on 16, that was buffed now. Yes, like we can see in the patch notes, Sentence to Death. So the bonus damage applies to enemies who are slowed by Singularity Spike. And Wormhole is Swarp Skirmisher. Aha, no longer requires Zeratul to attack a target within 6 seconds of teleporting with Warful Blade. That's also big changes. So I think it is possible to go for a Zeratul auto attack build now with a move on scene talents, but it's still hard to execute. So that's a big shake-up for the Zeratul playstyle. I think there's more variety now. You can go all builds. It's not the typical just poke you, poke out, and that's it. You can play it more different, and that might be interesting. I'm curious which build will be more seen. Yeah, some time ago there was always played the 10th Sentence to Death and Thick and the Dark build. It might come back, and I want to see that auto attack build as well. Let's go on here with Falstad, Updraft buff, Secret Weapon buff, Crippling Hanger buff. That's all talents that are not much used, and they are buffed now. Bonus damage from 18% while Secret Weapon is flying. Slow amount increase from Crippling Hammer. A lot of slow though. So it's actually a auto attack build buff. Well, yeah, it's a good. Okay, don't know how that comes out. So Greymane gets some buffs. Basic attack damage is increased baseline, and it gets even more if you go into Worm form. So that's big changes for Greymane. Big damage buff. Yeah, the stacking talent on 7, it gets better. It gives you 20 more instead of 15, but it's still not clear if you should go the Flask build, the Elixir build, giving a cocktail. I don't know, could be. So if you are a quick match and you have Greymane, you need to poke, you can do this, but you should not draft it for that. But his baseline damage and the movement speed in the melee range is now really strong. Also, because Bullet gets buffed again. So, because recently we saw a lot of picking, because of the meta, you have a lot of backline squishies, and that's why you pick Greymane for the backline. Go for the throat. Now, Cursed Bullet gets buffed again. Yeah, maybe the small trucks can bring Greymane a little bit more back into the meta. He was strong after all. He was not always just not the best pick possible because the meta was so pokey. So that's interesting. I have really no big clues about Mephisto. I like to play him though, it's fun, but he sees some special heroes. Really doesn't fit into the draft. He's a one to team fight all day long hero. He can do a lot of damage. So, but he got buffed to the underused level 1 talents. The passive talent got removed and baked into level 13. So it's also now lowering the cooldown of basic ability with the auto attack. So the auto attack Shard of Hate is now moved together with Anger, and the other level, except for the Q, usually most people do the Q build, that's why the other talent builds are buffed a little bit on level 1. And then the Healing Grow bonus increased. Spite is that's your, I think that where are you, Mephi? Spite gives you a globe, yes. A lot of hatred when you collect globes. Okay. Ah yeah, Shard of Hate, that's the passive. It's the AoE damage from auto attacks plus he would hit his. Okay. So the synergy is now baked together. That's a little bit buffs for underused talent for Mephisto. We always see. Same for Orphea. Orphea got buffs on his Q. So yeah, the level 1 talent So the level 1 and 4 picks for Orphea were always, especially on level 1, it was always mostly clear. And that was, I think, bad. Whereas Orphea, here we go. We were usually always picking Ancestor Strength, and that's why they buffed Empire and Growing Nightmare. Same goes here for Allegrissimo. And yeah, that. Backbite as well, so they're buffing that underused talents here, like again, a special Q build, and yes, the W build as well. So most people played the E build for Orphea, that's why they changed that. Oh, fine. Maximum bonus health here on W for Orphea, that's the melee build, going in and backbiting. Interesting. I don't know if that brings Orphea back, because she's so necessary on hitting her Qs. She needs some setup, and some Wombo combo team compositions it works, but baseline there are better choices. But I don't know, maybe this brings some idea. And last but not least, there's Valla, and that was necessary. I think that small health buff here is significant. You can feel that when playing, you can survive more. And also this trait does this buff, Teaching Hatred now, spell power. It helps you a lot. So Valla might be a little bit more viable now, and that's cool. Especially here if you go Q build and spell power on this, that's cool. And Caltrops slow, yeah, okay. But that is significant health buff for Valla. She was so low on health. Maybe we'll see her more often now in the meta. That would be cool. Shake up the meta a little bit. And now we're nearly through. Just a few changes. So there's no Sgt.Hammer anymore in ARAM. Sad, sad, sad. She was not in by, I think, anymore since they removed Blunt Force Gun from damaging buildings. But she was just changing the match maybe too much, and that's why they changed that. They also here said that they are planning out, have no new plans for the ARAM, so whatever. Mecha Storm countdown timer fixed, so the event is like a few days, 1 week less. So maybe they change the calendar a little bit and we get a new content earlier. That is cool. So the Impaler Mercenary Goats do more damage. They are on Shrines and Battlefield, and at Hanamura we have the respawn timer increased for the big swordsman, and he's just so strong in that camp. So that's that. Yeah. I hope you liked this video. We are through with it. It took longer than I expected, but well, that's always like that, you know. Yeah, like I said, I just started doing the content. I would be happy for any feedback, and yeah, leave me a comment and how I could improve. So that's the balance patch for now. I'm curious how to work this out. Maybe I'll bring another video about a specific Yrel build or Imperius build. Let's see with the next days. I wish you have fun evaluating all the changes, especially the 10% movement speed. And yeah, see you soon. Bye bye. I'm Grels, and I'm out for today.